we have one more special guest. And now I would like to welcome Mr. Seiji Kihara, Chairperson, Election Strategy Committee of the Liberal Democratic Party, and a member of the House of Representatives. Please welcome Mr. Kihara onto the stage.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm Seiji Kihara, member of the Parliament, and also I have been working on the startup policy in Japan as a Deputy Chief Cabinet Secretary under the previous Kishida administration. And also now, I'm also working on the startup policy as a member of the LDP, the ruling party. So today, I would like to briefly show the current situation of the Japanese government startup policy. And then I would like to introduce the economic situation in Japan as well. But first, let me ask you, how do you think, or how do you view the economic situation of the Japanese economic situation, or the state of the Japanese economy? Well, to be honest, years ago, total amount of wage paid to the workers is around 290 trillion yen, 3 years ago. After 3 years, under the Kishida administration, the total pay risen to 330 trillion yen. So more than nearly 20%, more than 15% wage increase occurred in Japan. Domestic investment, if you look at the domestic investment, the 3 years ago, the amount of the domestic investment was under 90 trillion yen. But now it increased to over 110 trillion yen. And thanks to the private sector's effort, the Japanese Keidan Ren. Have you ever heard the name of the Keidan Ren? Good. It's the economic foundation. Well, anyway, the companies they revised its forecast upward to 200 trillion yen in 2040 years. So after 30 years of deflationary stagnation, finally, Japanese economy has started moving. And I'm quite sure Japan is now really a good investment target, I believe. So I would like to first ask you to invest more in Japan, please. And the driving force behind this change was actually the so-called new form of capitalism policy delivered by the previous Kishida administrations. The essence of the new form of capitalism is quite simple one. It's to implement wage increase first, and strengthen investment first. The first is very important. I mean, the conventional economic policy, or the way of thinking of the conventional economic policy, has been one of the so-called trickle-down kind of approach, assuming that only after growth achieved will wage increase and investment be promoted. But in reality, in Japan, more than 30 years, this kind of trickle-down has never occurred. So that's why, in contrast, the new form of capitalism under the Kishida administration reverses this thinking in prioritizing wage increase and the strengthening of investment to drive growth. But it is actually quite difficult or not easy to get companies that have avoided taking risks for 30 years and have instead been accumulating internal reserves and cash for 30 years to suddenly raise wages and increase investment. It's not really easy things. So therefore, we introduced the idea of public-private collaboration. First, stimulate the government spending or fiscal spending as a catalyst to encourage private sector's wage increase and stronger investment. And alongside this public-private collaboration, strengthening startup is another crucial policy to make this Japanese economy move. Startups are, I believe, inherently good at taking risk by investing in people and investing in innovation based on future growth potential. Investing only after growth would contradict the purpose and the idea of the startups. Is that right? Yes, I think so. I believe so. So we are very much, put importance on the startup policy. And moreover, startups are often a source of innovation that addresses various social issues in the local government and all over Japan. So therefore, to promote startup is in Japan, we establish the 5-year startup program, a development plan 2 years ago, aiming for a tenfold increase in investment into startups over 5 years. Under the package, we have already promoting policies such as enhancing stock option tax system, angel tax incentives, and also increase programs to discover talented young people and send them to overseas to the startups hub globally all over the world, and also strengthening the money and the capital inflow into the startups through public-private partnership. However, there are still many areas where more work's needed, or the more work have to be done. I would like to point out 3 areas this time today. The first area is the enhancement of the private equity, including the venture capital in Japan. This means it is essential to introduce public funds like GPIF. It's our pension fund. It's a really huge money fund called GPIF to alternative investment, including private equity, and we will continue to focus on this kind of effort under the so-called asset management center, making Japan asset management center, economic center, or the fiscal center policy, which is the framework to support the new form of capitalism policy from a financial perspective. That's the one area we have to work more. We need to work more. The second area is strengthening collaboration between large corporations and startups. Startups are certainly full of ideas for innovation as well as useful energy aimed at changing society. However, they often face challenges such as lack of management and marketing talent, as well as insufficient fundings or insufficient money. So on the other hand, large corporations have abundant talent, but struggle with a lack of innovations, ideas, and entrepreneurial spirit. So collaboration between the large companies and startups create a kind of win-win situation in Japan that must be strengthened, we believe. So to that end, incorporating the enhancement of partnership or, promoting partnership with startups into a so-called corporate governance code could be one of the good potential areas we have to work on. The third is strengthening support for impact startups in Japan. Earlier I mentioned public and private collaboration is very important as a feature of the new form of capitalism. But another reading of this public and private collaboration partnership is that government, addressing various social challenges should not be left solely to the public or the government. It should be also involve the private sector as well. So impact startups are crucial when we think of the solving the social problem in Japan. So we would like to promote impact startups as well. But the environment surrounding this kind of impact startups remains very tough in Japan. So we must first strengthen the SBIL program, the government purchase, especially in the local areas and local government and local government level. So we would like to dealing with this kind of SBIL program as well. And also, it is very important for the startups, impact startups. We would like to promote a culture, kind of philanthropy culture in Japan. We don't have the good philanthropy culture in Japan at the moment. So the third area is this impact startups we would like to promote. And finally, the fourth area could be the connection, to promote connection with global connection. We are now very much working on the so-called global startup campus in Shibuya area. The idea is to call young peoples, young researchers, venture capitals, and entrepreneurs from all over the world into Shibuya area. And we are working very hard on this program. Anyway, I have pointed out only 4 areas today, but we have lots of work have to be done. And I would like to make it very clear that the Japanese government and also the ruling party is very keen to continue our working on the startup policy, because startup is really a good, tool to revitalize the Japanese economy. Throughout history and across the world, I believe it's always been entrepreneurial spirit by the startup companies that drive social changes. So I hope today's gathering, I heard over 80 countries, the people participate in this gathering. I hope this gathering will be a good opportunity for many encounters, many insights and discoveries. Thank you very much, and please enjoy this gathering. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kihara, for your wonderful opening remarks. That was indeed insightful.